Diageo to Didi Global. That's the Chinese ride-hailing giant. Of course, it went public on the New York Stock Exchange yesterday, and that raises a big question for investors. Does Didi have the best position in the local delivery market, or will Uber and others win out? John Ford is here with this week's edition of On the Other Hand. Hi, John.
Hey, Becky. I mean, Didi is in the best position because Didi is doing what the other ride-hailing companies said they were going to do, but backed away from. They've got ride-hailing in China, which is huge, by the way, with 15 million drivers and a growing middle class that's going to need their services. They've still got an autonomous driving business while Uber and Lyft spun theirs out. They built electric vehicles. They've got bikes and e-bikes, maintenance, food delivery, financial services, group buying. It's been clear from early on that local delivery is a scale game, and Didi has scale like no one else. And that's going to matter as Didi fights for ride-hailing share and builds new businesses outside China. I mean, think of what Google was able to build in the U.S. And yes, Google started with search when the web was coming of age, but that relationship with the user expanded to Gmail, YouTube, Maps, Android, just a portfolio of services that brought Google to where it is now with more than $1.5 trillion in market cap. So with Didi, after the first day of trade, it's worth just around $70 billion. And it's well positioned for the next phase of the digital economy, which is about blending physical and online transactions. Didi wins.
But, and there's always a but, investors are still valuing Uber at more than $90 billion. Of course, that's higher than Didi. So you think the market's missing something?
Well, on the other hand, Didi's maybe not so impressive. I mean, yes, it's got a big business in China. 94% of Didi's revenues come from China. Now, that's great. China's huge, but that doesn't make Didi a global delivery play, which is what it's going to need to be to compete with Uber and others. Then there's this idea out there that Didi has maintained big ambitions while Uber and others have backed away from them. Not really. Uber still has a big investment in things like autonomous driving and helicopter service. It just wisely got outside investors to take stakes in those businesses to lower the risk. But let's address the central idea here that scale is such a great advantage in local delivery. I'm not sure that's true. I mean, Didi's got this big portfolio of businesses in ride-hailing, autonomous EVs, food delivery in Mexico, sure, but it's also got to invest in them to grow them, and that hasn't been hard at a time when interest rates are low and capital is cheap, but things are changing. Take DoorDash. It mostly delivers food, not people. But in the past couple months, DoorDash has updated the way it charges restaurants, and it's added grocery delivery. That type of acceleration comes with focus. And by not trying to do everything, companies with more focused models are probably going to pull ahead of Didi as the competition goes global, Becky.
John, how will we know if Didi's model is really working? How long of a runway are we talking about?
Well, you know, I don't know, but I think it comes down to that investment question. Are they going to be able to invest in all these businesses, particularly outside of core China, and grow them at the same time, particularly as capital gets a little harder to come by? And compare that to what we see coming from the other giants, which are not taking their foot off the pedal.
The only thing I'd say is that, you know, even if they're only China or mostly China, that's a pretty great market, and one that others have got to be pretty envious of. Yes,
indeed. It's a great market. It's lower revenue per ride, though, and it also has different needs than other markets outside China. You don't have the same sort of demographics of people who don't have cars. You don't necessarily get to build the same kind of maintenance network outside China. You're not necessarily going to build EVs outside China. So we'll have to see how they adjust their model.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.